So how does that work? All of our officers have body-worn camera videos. When are they on? When are they off? How do you, have you had an incident where something happened and somebody didn't put their, body-worn camera on, and what happens to that officer in that situation?
Yes, sir. Yes, Evanston, every police officer has a body-worn camera, and the use of those cameras are governed by state law and also in our general orders. Now, when a police officer leaves the station, his body camera should be on. Having it off in the station is an exception. Once they get in the squad car, they can turn it off. But once they exit the squad car, the video must be on. And that video, these cameras are designed to run for up to 10 hours. And that is law, state law here, that we have to be able to record for 10 hours on our video cameras. When there's an incident or a complaint, the supervisor will check the video to see actually what happened and determine whether or not he should start an investigation. When we interact with the public in any way, the video camera should be rolling. Exceptions being if we enter into a residence, the resident has the right to say, I prefer you not have that video on. But while a police officer is in that house, if some violence erupts, the officer has the right to turn the video camera on again and start recording. That having that video is the officer's responsibility. And when we get incidents where, and a lot of things happen with these videos where police officers try to circumvent what's on that video. But my perspective is, if you don't have that video, it's going to be corrective action in terms of discipline with you. And then I'm going to lean toward more what the citizen is saying with respect to what happens.
And so when an officer leaves their vehicle, their camera has to be on. And let's say they pulled me over, and do they need to make a verbal command to me or to let me know that it is being videotaped by them, or is it just understood by people in the public like any of us can be videotaped these days?
Yeah, so if an officer approaches you, whether it's on a traffic stop or any, let's say, public contact on the street, the first thing they should do is just introduce themselves and let them know that they are audio and video recording the incident. Just for some clarification, I know you asked about what officers record. So any law enforcement contact would be recorded. Only things that they don't record are if I'm just out downtown Evanston and I approach a citizen and there's just casual conversation, there's no law enforcement intent, then that conversation wouldn't be recorded because it's just a casual conversation between two people, a public official and a citizen, and there isn't any enforcement action that needs to be taken. As far as the video cameras being on when they leave the station, every time you turn the camera on, it's in buffer mode. So the camera is on, but it isn't recording at that particular time until the police activate. So it is in buffer mode as soon as they leave the station.
What do you call it? What kind of mode?
I'm sorry. This is called buffering mode. So our cameras are set up to where once the police officers activate the recording actually starts 30 seconds prior to when a police officer presses that button to record. So the camera is always buffering, collecting that information, and it's not stored on the camera or in the cloud, as we like to call it, unless the recording is activated.
So let's walk through the viewers. I know lots of people have this question. I would guess that the vast majority of interactions that the police have with the public, nobody's arrested. And yet it's captured on body-worn camera video. My understanding of the law is that if any of us are arrested, anyone can FOIA using the Freedom of Information Act and see that videotape.
That's correct.
Okay, but the vast majority of people who have interactions with the police may be captured on body-worn camera, but have not been arrested. Can anybody see that? I mean, could I, if the police were at my neighbor's house last night, could I say, hey, I'd like to see, but nobody was arrested. Could I say, hey, can I see that, body-worn camera video?
No. So we have what's considered, like you said, what's FOIable, meaning, any arrest. So if an arrest is made, just like we do our daily bulletins and there are announcements that an arrest was made, we identified what the crime was, give a location of where it happened, and then sometimes the individual's name. That's all public record once the arrest was made. So that body-worn camera falls up under that as well. So if a police officer has a law enforcement contact and arrest is made, that information is now FOIable to anyone who wants to see that interaction. However, if I came to your house, let's just say it was a complaint, and there's just conversation, that interaction was recorded, based on your acknowledgement that you're doing recording and you didn't object to it. That is a private recording between the police officer and the citizen. So even if you wanted to, as the neighbor, to retrieve that video, you couldn't, because it wouldn't be considered public record. Now, if the person that I had contact with wanted to view that video, they could call the police department and say, I had this interaction with the police last night. It was just me and a police officer. I would like to have that video, because they were a party in that conversation or subject in that conversation. Then that video can be disclosed or released to that individual only.
Yep. Okay. So if you're not arrested and there's body-worn camera video that's captured of your interaction with the police, the only people that can see that video is the subject of the video or his or her attorney, if they had an attorney and they wanted to look at it. But
right. If the person
mayor doesn't get to see it, none of your elected officials get to see it, anything like that.